You're listening to the Christian Post Daily Podcast. Today is Tuesday, July 14th. Tributes are pouring in after the death of Senator Lindsey Graham of South Carolina, who died Saturday at 71 shortly after returning from Ukraine. His office first described a brief and sudden illness, and later reports said the cause was an aortic dissection, a tear in the body's main artery. Graham leaves behind a complicated and influential legacy, a conservative Republican, a strong supporter of federal abortion restrictions, an advocate for persecuted Christians, and a lawmaker known for close friendships across the aisle. Once a sharp critic of Donald Trump, he later became one of the former president's closest congressional allies. Reactions from evangelical leaders, American politicians, and world figures have emphasized the qualities they say defined Graham's career and character, with one tribute summing up the sentiment, "He will be hard to replace." Police in New York have arrested a 36-year-old man accused of hurling Molotov cocktails at multiple houses of worship in Queens, including Iglesia Bautista El Mesias and a nearby Kingdom Hall of Jehovah's Witnesses. Authorities say the suspect was taken into custody at a local deli after the late-night attacks. Community leaders are demanding tough prosecution, with the City Line Ozone Park Civilian Patrol declaring, "We expect every available charge to be pursued by the district attorney's office," Queries adding, "This individual should not be back out on our streets." Councilmember Joanne Ariola praised officers, saying, "Thank you to the NYPD for your quick response and ultimate detainment of this suspect," and noted investigators are examining whether he is tied to other attacks on houses of worship in the area. Two transgender student athletes, Parker Tyrrell and Iris Turmel, have dropped their federal lawsuit challenging New Hampshire's ban on biologically male athletes competing in girls' school sports. Glad Law attorney Chris Urkel said the case changed because Turmel moved out of state and Tyrrell, now a high school senior, left the girls' soccer team after facing protest and opposing teammates not willing to shake her hand at the end of the game, calling it heartbreaking for these kids. The Alliance Defending Freedom welcomed the move, with senior counsel Jonathan Scruggs saying, "Women and girls deserve privacy, safety, and equal opportunities." New Hampshire's 2024 law, signed by then-Governor Chris Sununu, followed what he called common-sense bipartisan solutions, and the case lost momentum after the U.S. Supreme Court ruled states may base girls' sports eligibility on biological sex. In Washington, Cardinal Robert W. McElroy is pushing back on claims that Monsignor Stephen Rossetti was removed as archdiocesan exorcist over comments linking UFOs to demons. McElroy says plainly, "It wasn't touching on the question of UFOs," adding, "My major objection is that I think the traditional role of an exorcist is a very private one. It's a sacred one." Rossetti, a Syracuse priest who served in Washington for 19 years, had gone viral after saying, "Probably many, if not most, UFO sightings are in fact demons," though he stressed that view was his personal belief, not official doctrine. After his June 3rd removal, Rossetti said he was saddened but obedient, asking forgiveness for anything not faithful to church teaching, as backlash spread among some Catholics and fellow exorcists, including Father Dan Rehill. Finnish lawmaker and former Interior Minister Päivi Räsänen says the UK has cancelled her electronic travel authorization, jeopardizing an August trip to Northern Ireland where she was scheduled to speak at a conference and visit Parliament. Räsänen, 66, said she received no explanation, though the move follows her recent conviction by Finland's Supreme Court for hate speech tied to biblical statements on marriage and sexuality and a 2004 pamphlet. She warned the ruling is restricting freedom of expression and creating restrictions and difficulties related to travel and participation in meetings and conferences. Lutheran Bishop Johanna Pohjola, convicted alongside her, was also denied authorization, with UK officials saying they were satisfied he had been convicted of a criminal offense overseas within the last 12 months. The Home Office has been asked to comment. British police are investigating the killing of former UK lawmaker Anne Widdecombe, 78, a longtime Conservative MP and prominent pro-life advocate, after she was found dead at her home last Thursday. A 28-year-old man from Rotherham, South Yorkshire, has been arrested on suspicion of murder and of the commission, preparation, or instigation of acts of terrorism, while Counter-Terrorism Policing Southeast has taken over the case. Lawrence Taylor, head of National Counter-Terrorism Policing, said authorities are pursuing multiple lines of inquiry to establish the motivation for this attack, adding, "Our priority is progressing this investigation quickly." Police say, at this stage, there is nothing to suggest that it was politically motivated. Right to Life UK remembered Widdecombe as a leader in the public fight for protections for unborn babies. Prime Video has renewed the biblical drama House of David for a third season after the series drew more than 40 million viewers worldwide. The new season will focus on David's years as a fugitive, tracing his transformation from outcast shepherd to fierce warrior before he ascends to Israel's throne. Creators John Irwin and John Gunn said, "We are incredibly grateful to fans around the world who have embraced House of David." Wonder Project CEO Kelly Merriman Hoogstraten called it part of a mission to build enduring franchises rooted in timeless stories, while Amazon MGM Studios' Kara Smith said the show has connected with audiences through breathtaking scope and emotional authenticity. Star Michael Iskander, who plays David, said, "David is everything to me," adding the story reminds viewers that God doesn't call the qualified, He qualifies the called. Thank you for listening to the Christian Post Daily Podcast. We encourage you to follow the show in your podcast player of choice, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or third-party podcast players like Overcast and Pocket Casts. You can also download the Edifi app for free and listen to all the podcasts on the Edifi network by clicking the link in today's podcast show notes. We would also appreciate a 5-star rating in Apple Podcasts and Spotify to help us reach a wider audience with the Christian Post Daily Podcast. You can also subscribe to our daily newsletter and get the top headlines delivered to your inbox by clicking that link in the show notes as well. Thank you again for listening to the Christian Post Daily Podcast.